Hello everyone and welcome back to ShredHouse Gaming. I'm Solo ShredSled, and today we're going to check out some upcoming games to keep in mind as they get further into development. Some very far in the future, most with no release date, but all have sparked my interest enough to keep a lookout for any and all updates and news about them. Just keep in mind I'm not including any VR specific games, and sorry but the Nintendo Switch will have to sit this one out as well, although some developers of these games have said that they hope for a Switch port after initial release. Anyways, these are 8 upcoming games that you should be keeping your eyes on throughout 2020. Starting off with my most anticipated on the list, WitchFire. Being developed by the Astronauts team, the same ones behind the vanishing of Ethan Carter, they've been very quiet about their new project while still keeping our interest with their little teases here and there, and so far I like what I see a lot. The gunplay looks smooth and I definitely want to see more of what these combat powers are all about, but not much is known about the story, so we'll just have to wait and see about all that. The world in this dark fantasy shooter is overgrown and ominous, while at the same time so crisp without the washout of colors we've seen too many times in Forest Worlds. It's nice to see that we actually have some gameplay, to see how it will feel to walk around in this game, and just looking at that, I've definitely got high hopes for WitchFire. So far they've only announced it for Steam, and a release date hasn't been officially set, but vaguely sometime 2020. One of the most ambitious and interesting Kickstarters in development is Dual Universe, and the alpha is actually available for supporters right now. It's designed to be a massive MMORPG in space. One server, one universe, with everyone online playing in the same sandbox. The procedural universe is only inhabited by players and planets, no NPCs, anyone you see in the game is a live person, and of course you'll be able to mine resources and shape the planet you choose to build your base and ship on. The make or break point for Dual Universe will definitely rely on the players. As the developers put it, the players make the action. It should help that there's plenty to do. You can start a war for resources, participate in galactic politics, or simply explore the vast universe, so a wide variety of players will be able to enjoy it. I don't see this coming to consoles anytime soon, but while the alpha is available, full release is set for the second half of 2020. Next up is Bethesda's Deathloop, which had a compelling cinematic reveal trailer at E3 this year. This ultra-violent Groundhog Day is set in Black Reef, a place where no one can die, or I guess more accurately, stay dead. The two characters we see in the trailer have two different views on what Black Reef is, one seeing their purpose to end the cycle, the other to maintain it as long as possible. My guess would be that you will have to learn from your mistakes and avoid them when you wake up again, but being that each day will be the same, anyone who hasn't died will repeat the same actions as they did before you were killed, such as Tom Cruise in Edge of Tomorrow avoiding death each day by making slight changes until he has it right and won't be killed because it's the same day. We haven't seen any gameplay yet and we don't have a release date, but the same studio made Dishonored, so I've got my hopes up. From the small studio Rockfish comes the fast-paced, open-world space shooter Everspace 2, revolving around making your ship unstoppable by adding weapons, devices, and perks. The story will continue where the first one left off. Again, you'll play as one of the surviving Adam Rosling clones, and they will stick with the animated comics for cutscenes. We know the campaign will be 20 to 30 hours depending on your playstyle, and with a ton of ships to choose from, complex upgrade builds, and an interesting way of storytelling, it's definitely something to look forward to. The projected release of Everspace 2 is set to be in fall of 2021, but a beta will be available late in the summer of the same year, with initial release being for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. But being that next-gen consoles have promised backwards compatibility, it's unclear as to whether they'll get a next-gen version separately from this one. The developer People Can Fly had an awesome reveal trailer of their new game Outriders this year. Set in a terrifying sci-fi world, it's said to be a dark modern shooter focused around the story, a story we don't know much about. Really all we know is that you'll be tracking a strange signal beacon. Now what that signal is coming from is still a mystery, but I imagine it will have something to do with the massive monster we see in the trailer. And the best part, you can play through the campaign solo or co-op with up to 3 players. This is one of those games that wasn't really on my radar, but as I see more and more about it, it's definitely captured my interest. Outriders is set to release sometime summer 2020 for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. And we're getting a Werewolf game, Werewolf the Apocalypse. Based on the early 90s tabletop RPG, with the premise being that vampires are destroying the environment, or more specifically, a vampire-run company called Pentex is. You will play as Cal, a member of the Fianna tribe, who after leaving his pack in the past, must return and fight this corporation. You'll have 3 forms at your disposal: Hamid, Lupus, and Krynos. Basically, a man, wolf, or monster. You can hide in plain sight as a Hamid, stealthily sneak around as a Lupus, or tear things to absolute shreds as a Krynos. The developers have mentioned that a rage bar will have to fill to activate the werewolf mode, but also that if you use it too often, it could kill you via the worm ending your game. Honestly, there's a lot of lore behind this game. Some the developers have stayed true to, some they've changed or simplified, and it's a pretty interesting rabbit hole to go down. I'm still waiting for gameplay since all we've seen of this game is the metal-filled trailer revealed at PDXCon. We don't have a release date, but we do know it will be available for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Okay, almost there. From Sucker Punch Studios comes Ghosts of Tsushima. We've actually seen a fair amount of gameplay for this one. The graphics look great, and the slower, more patient style of combat seems to be more grounded in reality than something like Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. The story takes place in 1274 during the first Mongol Empire invasion, playing as the last surviving samurai on Tsushima Island, having to learn the Way of the Ghost, a deadly fighting technique, and driving the invaders out of Japan. And not to be the bearer of bad news, but this is a PlayStation exclusive. The devs haven't set a release date, but a possible leak from an online retailer has it rumored for August 30th, 2020, though that has not been officially confirmed. Starfield is a game that was announced, but we know almost nothing about it other than it's a massive single-player RPG in space. The only thing we can correlate to Starfield is an early animation of a game Todd Howard wanted to make back in the 90s called The 10th Planet, but the technology just wouldn't allow him to do it. This is most likely going to be made for next-gen consoles, having been in pre-development for almost 10 years and in full development for almost 4. We should hear more details soon, but they're being very quiet about it. Well, that concludes our list of games you should be keeping an eye on for the next year, but it's about that time again. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. What games on this list most interest you? Let me know in the comments. Feel free to hit that SHG button and check out all of our content at ShredHouse Gaming, and follow me at SoloShredSled on socials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.